Hi, I hope everyone's doing well. Last coaching video, I talked about what we need to do to gain mind share, top of mind branding in order to build market share. So we talked about how we need to get to be top of mind with people we know and new people out there in order for us to gain new business. And there's several categories I want to talk about over the next few videos and different things where we need to focus on. So today I want to focus on our network, our sphere of influence, and what we need to do within that group in order to get to top of mind branding status with them, so that if they think real estate or someone's talking real estate, you're the first thing that they think of, and the first thing that comes out of their mouths for a referral. So one of the things that we need to do before we can really go after that business is we need to make sure that we have our databases in order and all the information there. And a lot of times when I'm talking to agents or meeting to recruit agents, this is typically a weakness. We don't have an organized database. What I mean by an organized database is, first, do we have their first and last name? Do we have their phone numbers? Do we have their emails? Do we have their mailing addresses? Because these are the things that we need as building blocks to start doing the communication, right? So what we can do once we're doing that, and also we need, it's helpful if we know their birthdays, their anniversaries, and other pertinent information that's going to also feed some of the stuff that we're doing. And then it is ideally important to put them in a CRM. So with Century 21, you have Business Builder. You can enter all this information in there, and you can add reminders and tag different things so that you can work your network within there. We often also recommend Brian Buffini's Referral Maker. We put a lot of people through the Brian Buffini coaching program, and his Referral Maker is excellent. It not only helps you get all this information there, it helps you rank them, it helps you prioritize things, and making sure you're getting your tasks done. And we have a lot of agents that use that, and they use it successfully and build great business from that. So whatever CRM you're using, it's important that all that data is in there. And I tell agents, don't wait till you have every single piece of data before you start some of these things we're talking about. It's going to take some time to build it, so don't wait until I've got my 100 or 200 perfectly in there. Get everything you have in there, find the holes, and then make a plan to go after those holes to fill in that missing data, right? But in the meantime, you can get started with your plan. So one thing I also find important with that, so once we got the network in place, we've got the information we have, is to rank them. And this is an exercise that'll help you with the building blocks of different things you do. So I like the A+, A, B, C ranking system. A+ being people who've sent you referrals before. A is someone you've done business with before. B is someone potentially likely to send you a referral, do business with you, or send a referral. And then the C is people we just met. We're trying to get to know, getting them to know us, and we're not quite sure yet if they're going to fit into that category. If you're new at this or don't have much of a sphere of influence, a lot of times I'll tell agents, take your best guess and form an ABC category based on what they think from the sphere of influence they do have, and then over time, that'll start defining itself with the activities that are happening. So once you've ranked them, there are several different things we need to do, and I like to also start with social media piece of it. So there's things like social media and phone calls and emails and all this stuff we're going to do, but the social media part I like to focus on, because social media we can get a lot of content from in order to drive a lot of the other activities. So first thing I'd recommend, if you have a Facebook account, is to form a friends list. And if you've never formed a friends list before, you do it under the so I'm looking at my notes, under the Explore category on the left side in Facebook. And if you hit Explore, you'll see friends list. If you go in the friends list, you can create a friends list. And what we're trying to do is create a list of people that I want to make sure I'm keeping tabs on and staying in front of all the time. So Facebook newsfeed can get very busy. You're seeing everyone you know, there's a friend in there, you're seeing all these ads, all this stuff is happening in there. And what we want to focus on is people that are in our sphere of influence that can refer or do business with us. I love keeping up with my family in Ohio and Florida and friends across the country, but that's on my personal time. Business time, I want to see stuff that can affect my business. So once you create this list, you're really focusing on people who can refer or do direct business with you. So now make a plan, and I recommend time blocking. Once you have that list, is you go into that news feed a few times a week, minimally once a week, but at least a few times a week. I would time block and go through there, comment, like, love different posts, and make notes of things that are happening. Maybe someone just got a job promotion. That's worth a like and a comment, but it's also worth a handwritten note. So these are the kind of things that not only are going to help you keep in touch with them but it's also going to help you come up with content that you need for all the other things we're going to do. So, so that's, making the connections and blocking that time out for social media and making a manageable friends list, liking, commenting, loving, and getting information we need. So, but I think the most powerful thing that we can be doing is making the phone call. So this is something that a lot of agents are intimidated by, especially if they haven't spoken to people in a while. But it's important that we are calling the people that we know. It's important that we're keeping in touch with them, especially during this time with COVID-19. I can't stress enough how easy that phone call is to make. They're home, they're dealing with homeschooling and working from home and dealing with all kinds of other stresses, just checking in and seeing how they're doing, how their mental health is, how their life is going, how it's different right now. The simple phone call doesn't have to be about real estate at all. But essentially, you want to call your A plus and your A clients or sphere of influence, and if you have time, get into the B list as well. And it really depends on how big your list is. If you've got 200 people in your A plus and A, it's going to be really hard to get to your B list. But with that said, that's what you want to kind of focus on to start with. And then there's not a definition for how many calls you need to make in a year to someone, but I recommend at least 3 to 4 phone calls a year, 1 a quarter, something like that. And depending on what's happening in their lives, that can help drive phone calls. Like right now we're making 1 or 2 calls. Some of you 2 calls during this time frame to your SOI, and they might have something significant happen in their lives where they got a new job, or their kids are graduating from high school. We have that coming up right now, or college, and if anything like that might trigger a phone call, not just a random call through. I'm going to say random or a scheduled call throughout each quarter, right? So different things are going to define different things that you're getting from your Facebook feeds, right? Different reminders you're getting from your CRM, like, oh, it's that home anniversary or wedding anniversary. It's time to pick up the phone. So all things things like that are going to drive that. But I do recommend time blocking throughout the week. Prospectors do it for making cold calls or calling on FSBOs and expires. I highly recommend you spend some time doing that for your SOI. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be multiple hours a day, but at least schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or, an hour a day, or whatever that takes to hit the calls you need to make. Some people who are actually prospecting, let's say making cold calls each day, calling expires and FSBOs and things like that, are doing so much of that, hitting a number, and then switching over to calling SOI until they hit a number of that, and then they're done for the day, usually within a 3-hour period, 8 to 11 a.m., Monday to Thursday, or Friday, they're doing that. So whatever strategy works for you, as long as you're hitting those calls. And really what you want to think about is how many that you need to make a day or a week. Is it 20 a week, 25 a week, 50 a week? Whatever that number is, break it down into manageable chunks throughout the week so that you can get that done. But it's very important that you make those calls, and it's very important you don't fall behind. You need to stay top of mind. So we talked about, the different, calling around holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. That just thinking about you calls, or, hey, I was in the neighborhood and drove by the house we sold 2 years ago and was just thinking about you. It was a great house. I enjoyed working with you. I hope you're still enjoying your new house, things like that. There's a lot of different things that you can be calling about. And certainly, as we said before, is that like social media gives you tons of content. Hey, they just got back from a great vacation. Pick up the phone. I saw you went to Hawaii. How was it? I've always wanted to go. Or I've been there. What was your favorite island or favorite thing to do? Always good content out there to make phone calls. Handwritten notes, very, very powerful thing to do. Very important within Central 21 Triangle Group, as that's something we do during our Agent Power Zone. That's something that we provide note cards and a stamp allowance to do this, because that handwritten note is very powerful. Getting that piece of mail, that personal piece of mail in your mailbox, and being able to read something and opening it is a way better than the tons of emails and everything else I'm getting throughout the day. That is something I think is coming back in a strong way, because I mean, you cannot turn on your computer or open your phone now without getting inundated with stuff all the time. I go to the mailbox every day. I love to see what I'm getting, and I have a birthday coming up, so I'll be excited to get. I don't get as many cards anymore, but it's nice to get a couple birthday cards from the parents and family and open that up and know that they took the time to go to the store, buy the card, and write something to me. I don't know, it's still special, and I'm turning 50. So anyhow, that's important, but what we want to do is target the amount of number of handwritten cards and notes we want to write a month. I like the number 50. We're big Brian Buffini fans. His number is 50. It's a number that works. Sometimes we don't have as many people to write 52. If 20 is your number, or 25, or 50, if we want to even go beyond that, that's great, as long as you stick to your plan. And not only are we writing to our sphere of influence, we also want to write and think about people we just meet. Hey, it was great meeting you at that party, and write them a note. Hey, it was great meeting you at that networking event, and throw a couple business cards in there. A handwritten note is powerful. It says that you've taken the time, you're thinking about them, and putting in the extra effort, and then instead of a quick email, much more personal. But make sure that you're doing things throughout the year. Make sure you have a plan. Some of you are doing Christmas cards, or you're doing things around Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day, whatever that is, holidays that you focus on and write cards for. Please do that. Of course, emails are still important. It's something that is more of a crowded inbox, but still dripping on them. On at least once or twice a month. Still very important piece of getting in front of them. Using your CRM to do that, like in Business Builder, I recommend the holiday campaign. Is that Keep in Touch campaign. It basically says, Happy 4th of July, Happy Easter, set your clock forward, set your clock backwards. It's just a simple message that you're sending. And also you can set up a newsletter in there. Of course, it's not customized, but at least it's something easy. Click and forget about it, and you're done, right? If you want to go into more customized emails or customized newsletters, you'll have to create those on your own or use different software for that. But at a very minimum, you have a click and forget it system right now within Business Builder to use. The other thing that I think is important that you should be doing is items of value. So what I mean by items of value, so you're doing handwritten cards, you're doing the phone calls, you're sending them emails, you're liking, you're commenting on Facebook, you're doing all these things, you're staying in front of them. The items of value kind of is what is giving them additional information that could help them. Also shows you as the expert in the industry. And those items of value could be something like, spring home project that can add value to your house, or a yearly checkup. Some of you send out something in January that says yearly checkup, see how your home's value fits into your financial portfolio. What does that mean, right? We have a 401k, we have other stuff in our bank account, we have other things going on, but what does our home equity mean into our overall wealth, and how does that helping us or hurting us, right? So having that home checkup each year, when do you need an appraisal, and what does it evaluate? Things like that you can be sending out each month. I recommend by mail, but if you can't afford by mail to your SOI, you can always do email. But along with those items of value, I mean, if you have several new listings, you can be putting those listings each month in there, and other things you're doing in real estate along with that item of value, so that they're seeing not only getting something that they can use to help them financially with their home or in real estate, but also things that you're doing in the marketplace and how you're staying busy and helping other people realize their new home dreams, or selling to help downsize or move to a new area. So something very, very important to do as well. And another thing, the icing on the cake, the cream of the crop, is the pop buys. This is a time where you mostly focus on your A plus and your A clients, sometimes on your Bs, depending on the size of your sphere of influence, but really A plus As. And this is something that you're going to do I recommend 3 or 4 times a year, or when it's appropriate. Some of it could be a one-off thing, something's going on. Like during COVID right now, we've been taking opportunities to bring food by, or to help people out and bring in toilet paper or personal protective equipment to people that need it and stuff like that as one-offs. And because people need it and they're stuck at home. We just had an agent, Anna, who just made 50 jars of jam, and went around and delivered those and had a special message for it. And she did it for nurses and educators because it's Nurse and Teacher Week, I believe, this week. And she has 50 of them in her SOI. So she took the time and said, "You are the jam," and made 50 jars of jam. Very clever, very powerful. Not only will she get in front of some of her people, but they'll also see something of value left at their doorstep. Good thing to do is to send a text message or a video text saying, "Hey, I left something on your doorstep. I really appreciate you. I hope you enjoy it." But a lot of times when you're doing those pop-bys, maybe not now during COVID, but normal times, sometimes you're getting that extra interaction, that extra face-to-face as you're hand delivering it to them versus just leaving it there. But even if you're just leaving it there, do a quick video text. Say, "Hey, how you doing? John Smith, Stephen Votine here, Century 21. I just left you something at your front door. I hope you enjoy it. I appreciate you. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your referrals. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon." Real simple thing to do. So anyhow, those are some of the things I wanted to talk about around your building mind share, top of mind brand with your SOI. This is what we call a stacking effect. One on their own is okay. A couple of them together is even better. But if you're doing all these things, imagine when it comes to real estate, you're occupying that part of the brain, right? You are the go-to real estate agent for them. You're the one they're going to refer. And what I like to say is that as a goal, and really that you should be planning for, is that you should get a 10% return from your sphere of influence. That means if you have 100 people in there, you should expect 10 closings from referrals or direct business, right? Some of you might even do more than that, but that's how I would plan this. That's how important this is. And that's why it's important to keep growing your network. That 100 becomes 200, that 200 becomes 20 deals, that 200 becomes 250, 25 deals. See where I'm going with this? It keeps expanding and expanding. So anyhow, that's what I'm gonna leave you with. I hope that helps you build more top of mind branding, mind share with your network. I hope that helps you a little bit of tips of building a network and a foundation for keeping that going and being relevant. So until next time, take care and talk to you soon. Bye.